Wagwan everyone, Sanjay Uchiha here. I'm just kind of move this microphone closer to me, but here we are fresh off hiatus. Boruto Manga Chapter 72 has finally dropped like more than a few hours ago, and we're here to actually talk about it. Of course, tomorrow, I'm kind of doing this out of order, just like a public service announcement, but since I'm not doing a live stream reaction to the chapter, my raw reaction will be up on the channel tomorrow more than likely, or over the weekend, so you can definitely check out my raw reaction to the chapter if you're interested. Definitely leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the chapter, but let's get into it. So finally, fresh off hiatus, 2 months since the last chapter, and we are back. And I thought, for what we got after 2 months, I thought it was actually a solid chapter. I think coming out of this chapter, one thing I can definitely say that this chapter really helped to, I guess, emphasize, remind, if we had any doubts, is the re-establishing of certain stakes between certain characters throughout the chapter, throughout the story going forward, honestly. And I thought it was actually a breath of fresh air with certain things coming into play, or at least the seeds being planted for certain storylines that I think a lot of Boruto fans think could actually benefit the story. But let's get into it. Of course, the chapter starts off, with Naruto, Shikamaru, and Kawaki having a little banter regarding Amado's fate, which, to be honest, I found funny. To be honest, because during the whole confrontation with Code and Eida in the Leaf, we had Amado basically saying to Shikamaru that, you'd be happy if, Code and Kawaki took each other out. So I kind of just found it funny that on the flip side, Kawaki found it was saying like, I know you'd be glad that Amado's dead. I just found that funny, and obviously very in character for Kawaki to say. Of course, we do get a phone call from Amado to Shikamaru. Now, in my predictions, I was kind of expecting that Amado and Eida would be already in Konoha, that they wouldn't really delay it. But we find out that it's going to take some time. I think it was, 4 hours, or was it 4 days? Could be mistaken on that. I actually have the chapter up here. Hold on there. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those reviews, more than likely. Yeah, so 3 to 4 days return to Konoha, so that's going to be interesting. And of course, through that conversation, we did see Amado get Shikamaru up to speed in terms of what happened, in terms of that Eida and Daemon fell out with Code's limiters got removed, and basically getting Shikamaru up to speed and warning him not to make an enemy out of Eida and Daemon, which, to be honest, is the best move. I mean, the combination of Eida's Senrigan and Daemon's overwhelming strength, arguably top one, top of the verse right now, arguably, in terms of who's living at least. So there was that. At least getting Shikamaru up to speed in terms of that kind of sets the foundation for, at least when they come to Konoha, they can move on to something else. We don't have to kind of wait anymore on Shikamaru getting that information, so that was interesting. I did like Eida's snow coats and just the different wear and attire for Eida and Daemon. I know it's a simple thing like characters changing clothes, but in the grand scheme of things, you don't really see that often here in the manga, I would say. So it was kind of refreshing actually seeing that, as minor as that seemed. So there's that. Now, going into one of the major perks that I said this chapter really established after 2 months is the re-establishing of stakes. Now, we see Boruto leaving the house, and we have another conversation with Momoshiki in which he's kind of curious about, why Boruto's so motivated, given that his prophesized, moment of despair when he loses everything is going to come. And granted, even though we already knew based on what was established in the last 10 chapters regarding the fact that Momoshiki can't revive anymore, we know that, right? But based on what was said, or what we know, he more than likely could take over Boruto's consciousness, just similar to like how Kurama could take over Naruto. It's just that he couldn't revive anymore. But we kind of got some hope in the matter based on Boruto's vague feeling of something could be different, that he didn't really have to worry about things anymore, that he wouldn't have to take the drug anymore. But this chapter kind of did a 180. I wouldn't say like it's not an ass pull or plot hole or anything, but this chapter did a complete 180 in Momoshiki saying, when the prophesized time comes, bro, you're not even gonna want to live, and that's the time I'm just going to live out your life. I'm going to live as Boruto Uzumaki. So you see those memes? You see those memes of Naruto sitting with Boruto with Momoshiki said, we're going to get that, obviously. We can place money on it. So yeah, so we had the re-establishment of the stakes, and the fact that the way that even though Boruto's trying to, you know, be confident that that's not going to be the case, the fact that how he reacted is a complete 180 from how he was in front of Amado and Shikamaru and Katasuke, saying like things are different now. So it does seem like there is some credibility to the stakes that are at play there between the whole Momoshiki, Karma, Boruto dynamic and the prophecy, the prophesized time that is to come. Of course, I did do a video talking about the whole prophecy. You can definitely check that out. I'll probably leave a card here. So that was definitely interesting. I definitely like that. Definitely setting, again, re-establishing the foundation of, you know, this is still relevant going forward, and we're really speeding towards that. Of course, Team 7 has been called to the Hokage office, well, to Shikamaru, and that's a good sign because that means we'll definitely be getting some, finally, some Sarada and Mitsuki in being involved at least. I'm not gonna place any big bets on them doing a whole bunch, but at least this is a good sign that they'll get some involvement in the manga, and maybe through the whole dynamic of what Boruto's going through mentally right now, it could be the spark that's needed to get some nice interactions between him and the rest of his team, and probably some interpersonal, inter-team issues, maybe, and maybe we can use that to really help push Sarada and Mitsuki somewhat. But let's see. I think it's a good sign. Of course, one of the biggest things I think coming out of this chapter, apart from, you know, Hinata crying and worrying about Boruto, is Himawari wondering if she should become a ninja just to help out Boruto. And I think that is another big sign that persons are excited for. Now, I know persons are going to want to tie this into the anime because, of course, you had that one episode where she was a ninja in the academy for a day and all that, but and of course this current arc where she's with Kawaki in the academy, yada yada yada. Even I'm not up to date, so I can't really comment on that too much, but I'm glad to see this because this seems like her mentioning that means that it's part of the main storyline going forward, and there's potential for it. Like the vibe. Like, I know, again, that person are going to want to connect to the anime, but I don't know, I just get two completely different vibes from it. Like, when she says that, it kind of gives you the vibe like she's never even been to the academy or anything before. So it's like, do you really pay attention to what was in the anime? Maybe if they reference it, then fine. But until then, I'm just taking this as a standalone, separate apart from the anime and saying, yo, she was never in the academy for a day until they reference it. But I like that because the more characters, I mean, not even just more characters, Himawari has a ton of potential, and I know persons want to see her potential be explored. So that was definitely a plus. I hope Kishimoto, please go somewhere with that. Do something, please. So there was that. So of course, you know, Boruto, well, Sarada and Mitsuki meet up with Boruto, and Boruto runs off, all of that jazz and blues. So looking forward to seeing where that goes. No. After that, we have Code and Bug in the dimension with the 10 tails. And of course, you know, they're kind of talking over the whole situation of, you know, Code not really having anybody inside, falling out with Eida and Daemon, yada yada yada. But Code's really nonchalant. He's not really worried or anything. And we end the manga, we end the chapter with him somehow wrapping the 10 tails with his claw marks, which he admits that he would not have been able to do without his limiters being removed. But with his limiters removed now, he can actually like wrap up basically the entirety of the 10 tails in his claw marks, and basically kind of tries to make it smaller and kind of replicate what the 10 tails did in the 4th Great Ninja War when it split off pieces of itself. And I mean, based on Code's logic, when he said, you know, it's basically just a lump of chakra, so you can just split it up, technically speaking, which is what he did. And that's what he did, creating somewhat of a reminiscent of the 10 tails clone army in the fourth Great Ninja War, but they seem much more humanoid than before. So yeah, we end the chapter with one of the clones basically jumping through one of Code's claw marks, and Code, it's implied that he's controlling the body of it. Maybe. Gotta confirm on that next chapter, but we basically end the chapter with that. So yeah, very interesting end. And with that, even though Code came out of the last chapter on the losing end, and it was kind of frustratingly annoying to even decipher where he was going to go next, now he has an army of miniature Ten-Tails warriors. So again, continuing with the theme of this chapter, kind of re-establishing the stakes. Granted, even though our Daemon obviously should be stronger than these things individually, I mean, so using them strategically, I can imagine Code being able to wreak a lot of problems on the ninja world, honestly. And depending on if this well, to be honest, I'd argue that this Ten-Tails should be weaker than the one in the fourth Great Ninja War, but you never know. We haven't gotten any confirmation of that. But honestly, using these guys strategically, if he's controlling them, then honestly, Code is still in the runnings. He can really cause some problems, honestly speaking. So yeah, but all in all, I thought it was a pretty decent chapter, as I said. And even that aside, I forgot to mention even Eida warning Amado that, yo, if you don't really make this thing with Kawaki work, your life is at stake too, adding another layer of complication, essentially, where Amado might have thought he might have been out of the woods, but it's adding another layer of complication there in terms of some stakes there. I mean, it's just life or death, nothing too dramatic, adding some stakes there for Amado, so I like that too. Very, as I said, the whole theme of re-establishing stakes throughout this chapter going forward. And of course, I'm glad the chapter went the way it did as opposed to how I was predicting, because this at least feels like we're keeping up the momentum, the pacing. I mean, this chapter felt like it had a decent amount of content and enough stuff to hold us over until September's chapter. So all in all, definitely a solid chapter, definitely liked it. Really planting the foundation of things with really setting the foundation with a lot of things, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes. So yeah, hope you guys are having an awesome day, well, night at this point. And I will see you in the next chapter review. Definitely look out for my raw reaction later or tomorrow, and the 1,000,001 discussions that we can probably have on this chapter and predict our predictions going forward. Fraggle fraggle. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Sanjay Chia, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comment section, of course.